mean, hand on heart. I mean, I'm not super surprised that is where you guys are. That is what you're finding out, because a lot of these numbers in NFTs kind of don't make any sense, right? And this is something that has been happening in traditional art as well. So this is just a newer digital way. But no, this is super interesting, right? I mean, you're clearly the vigilantes of the NFT space, as I would like to
Yeah,
call it. It's great. Um,
yeah.
and you guys are coming up with like a lot of updates as well, so that is actually quite exciting. I keep
Mhm.
saying bear market is the time to build, and you guys are clearly doing that. Hi everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Web3 Normies. Apologies, Raghu may be delayed today. So, you will have to bear with me, Prashant, for most of this podcast. I have with me today Vijay Maharajan, who is a co-founder of Bit Scrunch, a very exciting NFT-based company. And we'll go into a deeper lens into that. But Vijay, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot, Prashant. I've been following you and Raghu, and then also the Doodhwala newsletter, which is where I first stumbled upon you guys. So you guys are doing a great job by inviting a lot of stellar names. Happy to be here on such a list. So looking forward to the next few minutes.
Thanks a lot. And we thought only a select few 5 people listen to us, so it's actually good to know that it has been reaching as far as you guys in Munich as well. And then maybe that's where we start, right? Would love to let you introduce yourself, and also I
Mhm,
have seen that there is this cute little South Asian community developing in Germany, around places
mhm,
like Munich and Berlin, specific to
mhm,
Web3 as well. So, would love to
mhm.
understand how you ended up there, and a bit more about the community of Web3 in the region as well.
Yeah. So myself, Vijay Praveen Maharajan, originally from Chennai in India, but living in Munich, Germany since 2013. So it's almost what a decade of life here in Germany. Initially, I came here for my master's degree. I did my master's in electrical engineering, and then I went on to work for companies like Volkswagen, one of the leading automobiles, and then Siemens, another great tech company from Germany. So two German OGs in the Web2 space before I started bitsCrunch, founded bitsCrunch. So right now I'm the founder and CEO, and we are into NFT analytics and forensics. So we crunch each and every bits of data. So that's why we are bitsCrunch, and we start with NFTs to begin our journey. But then once we set our footprints, I hope we do that in some time, and once we do that, we plan to expand to the DeFi space, to the broader crypto space, where the likes of chain analysis, elliptic, and these guys are competing. So that's the nutshell, and a little bit more about me. Yes, I've been a data scientist all my life. I've been crunching the data from Siemens and Volkswagen. But then when I looked at blockchain, I mean, I've been a passive follower, passive investor, retail investor on blockchain, onto blockchain since 2017, 16, 17. And when I first stumbled upon NFTs, that is when my aha moment happened. So I'm sure you remember the $69 million NFT sale that
People.
everybody spoke about. Yes, everybody speaks about people, but very little. Uh, I mean, guys like us know who's the buyer, right? Meta Cohen. And when I dig deeper into Meta Cohen, I was like surprised to see that he's from Chennai and he's from the same city as mine. And I have said this in multiple interviews, multiple podcasts. We come from a very conservative society. I mean, not just Chennaiites, but in general Indians, because when I get a couple of idlis in Chennai airport, my mom used to scold me for the next 2 hours, right? Why did you buy that idli from airport? Why not from Saravana Bhavan, which is 5 kilometers outside the airport, right? Because the cost, right?
Yeah.
And when I saw a person who has roots to Chennai, who has got $69 million worth of NFT, back then it was memed or mimicked as a JPEG, right? It's basically a JPEG, right? I mean, even today it's JPEG. And when somebody invests $69 million, yes, I understand the concept of creating FOMO. He wants to stamp an authority on the Web3 space, NFT space, or whatever. But then $69 million any given day, it's still a massive amount of money, right? And that was when I got into the model. I sat with my friends who are now my co-founders. We went into the nitty-gritties of it, and we found it interesting because with NFTs, we felt it is easy to onboard millions of users. Because if you look at the whole crypto, Bitcoin is now with us for like almost 1.5 decades, almost, and Ethereum is almost with us for a decade. And it's a little tricky to explain it to a layman who doesn't understand
Mm.
software, who doesn't understand code. But with NFTs, it's relatively easier because we all remember the days where we collect WWE cards or any collectibles that are coming along with candies and
Yeah, it used to be WWF when I used to collect it.
yes, WWF, exactly. Kane and Undertaker, right? So we felt it is interesting. So we thought we'll focus on it. And then here I am in front of you after building Bit Scrunch for 3 years, having raised $6.5 million from prominent VCs in the space. And not just about the money, but then I can definitely brag about my investors. We have got Coinbase Ventures on board. We have got Animoca Brands, Polygon, Chainlink, Hashkey Capital, Gate Labs, Crypto.com Capital, CoinSwitch Ventures. So the list goes on and we are happy to be in a position where we are right now. But to me, it's always what's next. So we have
Yeah.
come to this point. I still consider this as the starting point, and the road ahead of us is fairly long. And I'm happy to be here on this podcast with you today. Maybe let's record something sometime again in 2024 or 25, where we'll see how far we could go and how this bitsCrunch will evolve.
Yeah, definitely. And NFTs is like a very interesting area. It has its ups and downs, right?
Mm.
Now, you come with a data science background and also engineering. Now, when you landed up in NFTs, right? There are a lot of
Mhm.
things that you could have done 3 years ago, right? I know marketplaces had taken off, but there was like you could have done a collection, you could have done
Mhm.
another type of marketplace, or you can build some tools,
Mhm.
infrastructure, etc. What exactly convinced you to go into the analytics side of things,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
how do you think the previous 3 years have gone in terms of your journey of like building
Mhm.
these analytical tools?
Mhm. I mean, one thing is obviously I play to my strengths. I mean, not just I, but
Mm,
we play to our strengths. If you look at the team, we are data savvy. If you look at myself, I have close to a decade of experience with data, having worked with Volkswagen and Siemens. My CTO is a PhD from Germany who has tons of experience from handling data. He's into biotech, so he has dealt with a lot of biological data, and my another co-founder has a master's degree in data analytics from Ireland. So if you look at the common point, it's the data, and we thought we'll stick to our strengths to start off with, and then move beyond the boundaries, right? I mean, obviously, as a player, Virat Kohli is a potential batsman. I mean, you can ask him to roll over a couple of overs here and there, like Rohit Sharma did. I mean, candidly joked on a press conference a couple of days back. But then, if you ask a primary skill of Virat Kohli, it's obviously his batting, right? So we wanted to play to our strengths to start with, and even though it's close to 3 years of journey now, I still feel that we are pretty early in this journey, because in order to first step in, understand the process, understand how Web3 works, to be honest, we took uh, at least 3 to 6 months of time to settle down, because
yeah.
here the entire business routine is different. I mean, businesses can happen over Telegram, can happen over Discord, sometimes emails, right? I mean, this is totally different from where I come from, where I came from Volkswagen and Siemens, where there is a fairly long, tiring, and German process oriented, right? I mean, these are top notch German entities. To come from there and to that is where I remember I installed Telegram. I know that there is an app called Telegram, and in what 2017 or 18, I used it for some investment purposes, but then I created one dedicatedly for the Web3, being a founder of bitsCrunch. So this journey was totally new to all of us, and
Yeah.
another surprising factor is it's our first venture. So as a founder, as somebody who is building in this space, not just for me, but for my CTO, for my another co-founder, for everybody, this is the first venture. And so initially we were a bit skeptical, like every other
Mm.
Indians, we were a bit skeptical because I live in Germany. I have to pay my bills, which is not equivalent to what guys pay in India, right? The rent,
True.
the food, the costs, accommodation, travel, and everything. So we started as a conservative firm at the beginning, where we took baby steps at the beginning, and now we are at a place where we have partnered with Mastercard, the likes of Deloitte, KPMG, and in the Web3 space, DappRadar is a primary prime customer, which is a paying customer as well. And then Unstoppable Domains is using our analytics. So we are slowly sort of finding the groove, I would say, finding the product market fit. But still, I would say it's in the initial stages of PMF, product market fit.
Yeah.
But half of this has to do with the market. I mean, if the market is obviously super bullish, then we would have ended up getting hundreds of clients by now, with the kind of analytics that we provide to DappRadar and Unstoppable Domains. These are primary examples of Web3, and also Web2 guys like Mastercard, Deloitte, and KPMG coming and trusting us shows where we are heading towards.
Yeah.
So, like I said,
Oh, very
we
good.
have just
Yeah.
started. We have just started. Still a long way to go.
I did slight digression here. I have to point this out. Sitting in Germany, like you have three co-founders. One from Ireland. All three are Tamilians, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Brilliant. I mean, I'm a Tamilian as well. My Tamil may not be as good as yours because I was brought up in Hyderabad, but Raghu is
Okay.
also Tamilian, funny enough. So
Ah,
we had a
great.
podcast on Metaverse with Sai Krishna from Polygon Labs. He was previously in
Ah,
charge of fire drops at Flipkart, also Tamilian,
great. Oh,
So the three of us were jamming in Tamil. Well, those two were, I was trying
oh.
to participate. So it's
Okay.
brilliant how you have brought this team together. I just had that small digression. Specific to analytics, right? If you can just double click on that for a second, in terms of like what does analytics mean for a KPMG, and what does it
Mhm,
mean for like say an unstoppable domains, right? And you guys also
mhm,
have this pricing thing also, you guys too. So would love to double click on this aspect.
mhm. Yes. So when we mean analytics, I mean that is where we started. Again, when it comes to NFTs, we uh, we indexed all the blockchain data, and out of all the blockchain data, NFTs are a small piece, right? I mean, if you know what data is, so we actually cater to the needs of a very small piece, small puzzle piece on a blockchain. So we started with analytics, and one thing that we realized is since the space is quite new, there were a lot of scams happening. So people started losing money. I mean, when somebody comes in and invests $6-9 million, and then all these bored apes and uh, crypto punks getting sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And that is when people started uh, getting into the FOMO mode, right? Or where people refer their friends and say, hey, get this NFT, buy that NFT, and so on. And that is when the crook side people, I mean the malicious actors, they got in and they started scamming people. So a lot of people were scammed in the space. And if we zoom out, there was no single player who actually looked into NFT forensics at that point in time. What I'm speaking about is 2021, 22, even early 2023. There were no player who is actually looking at NFT scams, because there are wonderful teams like Chain Analysis and Elliptic who are actually looking at the broader scope of crypto scams and crypto frauds, which is actually has become the state of the art reports that all these big fours and Fortune 500 companies rely on nowadays. But NFT space was not focused there, so we started doing forensics, because analytics is something that we can always translate the on-chain data into fancy charts and fancy numbers, but forensics requires the real data knowledge, right? When
Mm.
I mean data knowledge, that is when the ML experts, machine learning experts, or AI expertise. I mean, now everybody talks about AI. AI has been the talk of the town for the last few months, but we
Yeah.
use AI not for the sake of using AI, but we use AI since 2021. Since we started bitsCrunch, there has been always the branding. We use AI for finding the malicious patterns of NFTs. So going into the use cases, let's say a company like Big Force, KPMG or Deloitte, that is for those companies now we are doing a proof of concept. What's happening is, let's say a guy like Prashant who sells a monkey picture, let's put it that way, and all of a sudden he offboards $200,000 into a bank account, where thereby selling, whereby he's selling a couple of board apes or CryptoPunks, and then he gets in $200,000 of money into the bank account, and banks are scared. So in this
Mm.
case, Prashant, or it could be an entity, it could be any entity where they are offboarding a huge chunk of money by selling JPEGs. So banks are scared and they are going to the Big Fours auditors and saying, "Hey, I'm not sure what this Prashant or Prashant Holdings company is doing, but they are offboarding $200,000 over a fortnight, right?" So they go to the Big Fours, and clearly, Big Fours, they don't have a clue right now. Sorry to say this, but that's the standpoint after having a conversation with
Yeah.
pretty much all the Big Fours. They don't really know what is an NFT, and on top of it, when it comes to NFT forensics, they are clearly lacking. Right? They are lagging so behind. And the good thing is they are having their conversations with chain analysis, elliptic, Merkle signs, and so on, but they are not able to come to a closer point in time where they can uh, tell the banks that this is what is legitimate, this is fake.
Mm.
So they also started talking to us. Now we are giving a uh, analytics and reports to them in the form of dashboards and APIs. So what these big fours now will do is not just bitsCrunch data, but then they take all these entity data. They take chain analysis, they take input from Merkle signs, elliptic, bitsCrunch, and then they combine it, create a report, and then hand it over to the banks. So that is
Right.
one classic example that we are solving with the big fours. And another use case that we are doing with PWC is, you might have noticed so many brands coming into NFT space. Right? I
Yeah.
mean, look at Reddit, Starbucks, they are killing it. Reebok, Adidas, Nike, Porsche NFTs didn't go well as planned,
Mm.
but then Mercedes Benz, BMW, Louis Vuitton, it keeps coming. Right? I mean, now
Yeah.
the Tencent guys and others are coming into the Web3 picture in terms of NFTs. So these brands, whenever they step into NFTs, they are always skeptical because they are worried about the scams, they are worried about the
Yeah.
malicious actions going on in the space. So then they needed somebody to monitor, to let's say be the watchdog of the space. And to our pleasant surprise, there is again no real player who just focuses on NFTs, and that is where we
Mm.
again step. We don't just do the transactional forensics, but we also look into the image level forensics. So let's say if there is an image at the backdrop of you, if you mint that as an NFT today, our algorithms will always keep track of blockchain when it gets minted again.
Yeah.
So that is also something that the brands are partnering with Big Fours, and thereby we are being the forensics sort of engine or partner to these guys.
Got it. Nice. And when you said unstoppable domains, right? Like,
Mhm.
what is it that you offer to the Web3 standard companies?
Yes. So for a DAP radar, the solution is already
Yeah.
live. I mean, probably when we do the screen sharing, I could even show where exactly we are
Yeah. Yeah.
using.
Go for it. Yeah.
I mean, okay, then I'll
I mean,
quickly show
if it's
that.
available, or else we can show we can include it in show notes if you think it takes time. Up to you.
Okay. it's already it's available. So
We
just
always
takes a
like,
minute.
especially crypto-based companies doing product
Yes,
demos. It's awesome because there aren't many.
yes, true. So yeah, just a second. So I hope you see my screen now.
Yeah.
Is my screen? Yeah. Okay. Cool. So that's. I mean, let's start with the blog. That's what DappRadar wrote about us in May. I mean, they started using our product from early this year, but then they wanted to settle down and give us some highlight. So I'll go straight into the point. So if I mean, DappRadar needs no introduction,
Mm,
and when you go to the NFT Explorer in DappRadar, and when you let's say go into any collection, let's say Bored Ape, this is exactly what we provide. So the estimated price is what we provide.
right. And
So
how do you calculate?
in
How do you guys calculate that?
yes, so I mean, as you could see, I mean, this is probably a false data from their end. Okay, let's say this example. So Bored Ape 3749 has a last sale price of 740 ETH, and it has a floor of so small, but we estimate it to be 210 based
Mm,
on Uh, I'll, I'll I'll talk about how we come up with this price. So this whole NFT space relies on floor price. But if you ask me, I mean, you would agree that this is one of the dumbest ever metric to calculate or look at NFTs, right? Because there are so many external factors. I mean, look at the
yeah.
market conditions. Sometimes Elon Musk tweeting about Miladi collection or whatever. So you have to look into so many bunch of parameters and not just the floor price, which is the lowest possible price of a collection of an asset in a collection, right? So we use that is where we use machine learning models to train. We use 56 KPIs to be precise. I mean, I can check the numbers with the team, but we used 56 KPIs like last selling price, what was the metadata is available, what are the comparables to the top 100 collections that we have. Let's say if you launch a collection called Prashant NFTs, we take that and check, run through with the top 100 collections on Ethereum and polygons of the world. And we check for metadata relevancy, and
Mm,
we check for wash trading insights, which is not fairly available to the most of the other people in the market. Since we do transactional forensics, we always have this wash trade metrics where we see if people are flipping NFTs for fun back and forth and trying to do some malicious activities. Just to give you a fair hint, we have identified 13 wash trade patterns till date. 13 1 3. So what we find is not just one back and forth flipping between two wallets or same wallet doing back and forth transaction, but we have identified community sale, community flipping, and we have also identified tricky wash trade cases where you get cash inside a wallet in the form of USDC or Ethereum. You do the
mm,
conversion and use it for wash trade and NFT. So we have solved. I mean, we are in the process of applying for patents as well for some of the complex models, but that's in the roadmap. That's for the later. So since we are based out of Germany, Germany is all about regulations and compliance, and that is why
yeah.
we wanted to be the sort of not regulatory aspect of Web3. I mean, when you talk to Web3 community, they literally hate regulations. I mean, including uh, me at times, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
hate that word as such. So we don't want to be the regulatory face for NFTs, but then we want people to not get scammed for lame reasons
Yeah.
because we have all the data. We could see what's happening behind each and every NFTs. So we don't want another Vijay to get scammed on a fake NFT that is trading on the market.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Got it.
that's what. So Unstoppable Domains, talking about Unstoppable Domains, they have a premium subscription that is shortly coming up. I'm sure they have teased it a few times already on their social handles, but they are playing the waiting ball, waiting game because of the market downturn.
Yeah.
So with let's say Unstoppable Domain, let's say with Prashant.nft, you will get to see sort of a social media thing on their premium feature. Let's say
Mm,
it's more like a Facebook or LinkedIn for Web3, where you log into that with your Unstoppable Domain and you see what sort of a person you are. Are you an art lover? So you chose your art NFTs. Are you a game lover? It has your game NFTs. So they do classifications or categorization based on the amount
mhm.
of NFTs that you hold, and it's also more like a LinkedIn for Web3 when you complete certain courses. right?
Yeah.
Let's say even for this Web3 for Normies podcast, when you start linking it to an NFT on chain, people start collecting it. Because if I am a continuous listener to your podcast, I start collecting your podcast NFTs. And after a
Yeah.
while, it's like I've sort of graduated this entire course. Imagine this as a
Yeah.
course. I might have graduated all the 10 lessons from you, and then that as an NFT will be on my profile. So that is where they want to show analytics of NFTs. What sort of
Mm.
analytics that they hold? What is their volume? What sort of
Right.
top selling NFTs? Just in case if they want to buy
Nice.
something, and they want to also place some uh, partnered NFTs along that header. So that is where they want to plug into bitsCrunch. So that is one of the recent partnerships that we had. And AppRadar, like I showed, it's already live. They are clocking 3 to 4 million API calls per month. It's not massive,
Nice.
but again, something is better than nothing.
No, yeah, I mean, and in this market, I think it's a good metric, anyways, right? The way you explained how you safeguard against malicious activities, wash
Mhm.
trading, etc. I think I'll just give you a tagline, right? So you guys are like the vigilantes of the NFT world.
I mean, I use a term, use a tagline of we are the police of NFTs. Police.
Yeah,
And
nice.
jokingly, I say my father is a real life police. He's a police in Tamil Nadu,
Oh wow, nice.
and I sort of do this in the NFT space.
Wonderful, wonderful. Like talking about NFT specifically, right? Where do you think like we are headed to with respect to NFTs? And again, it's a very vast word in itself. But
Mhm,
sitting where you are right now, what
mhm,
do you think the future of NFTs is?
mhm. I mean, I would say gaming would be the crown jewel of NFTs or blockchain. But people have hyped it a lot
Mm,
in a way that people are nowadays are like in aversion mode when you talk about Web3 gaming, because we don't have the technology to delve into a Web3 game as of now. What I mean is today we don't have the tech that can do millions of transactions among all these gamers in a live scenario where people don't even care about the blockchain anymore. The tech is not there. I mean, right now with all these uh, L2s and L3s and all these wonderful chains that provides gaming supportive chains. I mean, let's put it that way. These
yeah,
chains are evolving, and on the other hand, people started focusing on NFTs. I mean, they started focusing on NFTs or blockchain gaming as a tagline. But if you ask me, it has to be at the back end. I
mm,
mean, nobody use um, a manual to use a mobile anymore, right? But I
yeah,
still remember the very first mobile that came with a manual where it says go to settings, change the language, change the
yeah,
alarm clock, and everything. But now nobody cares about it. You just unbox it, there you go. You just switch it on, there you go. Right? And nobody cares about making a call. Are we thinking about what is this 4G, 5G technology? How is it happening? Or have we ever thought about it? No.
yeah.
We have never thought about 4G technology or 5G technology while using internet or while using mobile phones, right? So that is actually the normal, that is the normies when it comes to blockchain gaming, right? And that will eventually happen. I mean, I see this Apple headphones as I mean, not the pioneering use case, but that will give the world a fair bit of idea on what exactly is this whole metaverse, right? When you just flip
Yeah. You mean the
a
AR
screen.
glasses they
Yes,
launched, right? Yeah.
exactly. So once that is out in the market, I mean, I'm sure that so many
Mm,
companies will try to replicate the technology. They'll break it down into pieces, and they will start recreating, or they will start creating better versions of it. That is how the whole
yeah.
evolution cycle goes, right? And let's say that as the first iPhone, right? And look at the iPhone 14 Pro that we have now. It has been a tremendous evolution. And what was the first iPhone? I mean, we had iPods as a separate device to listen to
Mm-hmm.
music. we had a totally different iPhone. I mean, if you have to circle back to those first iPhones. So this AR VR headphones that will be released by Apple early next year will give the masses an idea about how this whole metaverse is going to shape up. And I'm pretty sure over the next few years, Web3 gaming will take us to the next level. And that is what the famous A16Z. I mean, I love these guys. They are like the Nostradamus. Oh, what was that? So they always
Yeah, no,
predict things. Yeah, and they are strongly backing the Web3 gaming narrative, and that is when all these NFTs will actually come into picture. Because imagine you playing a PUBG. I mean, I have played PUBG. I have played Clash of
mm-hmm.
Clans in my life. Now, if you play a game, you get entertained, but then whatever assets that you buy in, whatever money that you spend in, goes to the gaming company, goes to Tencent, goes to Ubisoft or whatever. But with NFTs, that becomes a tradable asset. So the moment, let's say Vijay is getting married, getting a child, and I'm quitting a game, I can sell that assets onto a secondary marketplace. I am pretty sure that these games that I just told, PUBGs or Clash of Clans, they have a massive community around it. So I don't have to chase a buyer for that. So obviously, those NFTs will be a tradable asset. It can either give me the same amount of money, lower money, or even higher in some cases, where if I have
Yeah,
crossed 100 stages, and then if I want to sell 100 levels of something on a tradable platform, then I might get a good price, right? So Web3 gaming NFTs will become the narrative in the coming years, but odds, I mean, that will not fade as such. It will stay, but gaming NFTs will be the hype in the coming cycles.
got it. And yeah, and like you said, hardware improvements as they keep coming in will,
Exactly.
make these things a lot more appreciated by the masses as well. Where do you
Yeah.
think, so okay, I've seen that RWAs, real world assets, are also brought onto
Mm-hmm.
the blockchain in the form of
Yes.
NFTs, right? That's what Centrifuge and all these guys do. Is that also an area that you guys are looking at? Because that's also like, I mean, there are certain issues there as well, but it's also in the real
Mm-hmm.
world a multi-trillion
Mm-hmm.
market. So yeah, just curious to
Mm-hmm.
see your views there.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, if I have to pick one, I would go with gaming, but RWAs are definitely on the picture as well, because we already work with a couple of design partners there. There is a jewelry maker in India who wants to peg every single unique jewelry design onto the chain. So he wants to
Oh
create
wow.
an NFT, and that is one design partner we are helping out. What we do is we protect that IP of that particular asset in the NFT space. So today we are looking at four chains: Ethereum, Polygon, Avalanche, and Binance. And Solana is almost there. Probably in the early next quarter, we are also adding Solana. So that means we pretty much cover the 95, 96 spectrum of NFT zone, right? And whenever, so let's say you are coming in as a business. So let's take that business owner who wants to upload these jewelry designs onto the chain. He comes in, and what we do is we check for relevancy of his metadata, or we check for uh, copycats in the space that are already existing to his designs. So by doing that, he initially checks for his collections originality. That is the first
Mm,
thing. So we give him that. We are like the check mark of Twitter in a way for him, right?
mm,
So that
yeah.
is where we help him out. And once his collections are live on the market, we sort of give him a bi-weekly report or a monthly report where whoever copies or tries to copy his collection gets notified. And that is where the famous Herms
Mm,
lawsuit comes into picture, because there was a collection called Meta Birkin's NFT. They used the brand Hermes handbags that women used to wear, and they
mm-hmm.
sold NFTs for hundreds and $250,000 or whatever. And these Hermes, they quickly realized, filed a lawsuit in US, and now Meta Birkin's NFT is closed. But these are early days of
Oh, I
NFTs.
don't know that. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So these are early days of NFTs, but imagine this happening. I'll also, just a second. So I'll share the screen. I'll quickly show that to the audience as well.
Now,
Yeah.
while you do that, right, I think it's interesting that to the outside world,
Yes.
NFTs is just all
Mm-hmm.
your PFPs, but there is so much
Yeah.
more potential
So
that
much more.
NFTs has, and how many like
Yeah.
businesses can be built around the asset itself.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, this is what I was referring to. Do you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Helms, they won the ban on MetaBacon's NFTs in US lawsuit just a couple of months back. And yeah, that's what we are also helping a lot of brands in this space. So we help brands
Nice.
in preventing their IP in the digital asset space. So okay, so imagine Vijay coming out and using McDonald's logo on my NFT, right? This famous McDonald's arch, and that's actually an IP infringement of McDonald's, right? So
Mm.
we are also helping brands in protecting their IP. I mean, that also refers back to the uh, IP infringement that we also work with PwCs of the world. So they want us to monitor some of the brands. I mean, it's still early days, but yeah, if it potentially goes through, we might work with more brands in the future.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. Also, you noted the chains that you guys operate on, right? To me, like it feels like specific to PFPs. Ethereum is very difficult to dislodge in terms of
Mm-hmm.
the number one chain. I think it also
Mm-hmm.
goes to the status point of being associated with the mainnet as opposed to everything else. I would love to
Mm-hmm.
get your views there in terms of the chains
Mm-hmm.
that you see most of activity on. But
Mm-hmm.
since we spoke about gaming and RWA, I don't think those are
Mm-hmm.
very status driven, right? They are more about the experience and the real world, asset utility. So they can probably happen on some of these other chains. So just want to get your like overall view on like where do you see most of the activity on NFTs
Mm-hmm.
today, and how do you see that changing over the next few years as well?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Solana was once the NFT hub for several different categories, but then because of what happened with all the market crash and FTX saga, it actually sort of stumbled down when it comes to the NFT volume. But to me, still, I would say Ethereum is the king when it comes to the overall NFT perspective. But if I have to tell about particular sectors when it comes to the gaming NFTs or RWAs, there are other chains that
Hmm.
are picking up right now. So there are chains like Polygon, which is also doing really good, and there is Immutable X that's actually into gaming NFTs. But there are other chains that are also picking up recently in terms of Zora, Optimism, and
Hmm.
recently Base. There are a lot of NFT activities there at the moment. But like you mentioned, uh, for arts, it's obviously ETH who is leading the pack as a king. But several other chains hold a specific set of users on their chains as well. So there are some
Yeah.
activities on Near, there are some activities on Polkadot. Polkadot is fairly low when it comes to the volume at this
Hmm.
point in time. Even Binance, sometimes the volume shoots up, but it has never been a consistent thing on Binance so far.
Hmm.
And Avalanche, even though they have partnered with the World Tennis Federation and also a couple
Hmm.
of other good partners, it hasn't picked up really.
Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
One other question I had like on the NFT space, not directly related to
Mhm.
your business itself, but
Mhm.
NFTs as a concept also started
Mhm.
with this ethos that this gives creators back the money that
Mhm.
they are supposed to earn as opposed to going to
Mhm.
distributors, right? And
Mhm.
therefore this entire creator royalties etc. started coming into play. Now
Mhm.
post Blur and also what recently OpenSea did, looks like
Mhm.
royalties is more of like a good to have, but no one really wants to
Mhm.
enforce it because the market is
Mhm.
mostly full of speculators, right?
Mhm.
um where do you think that is headed? Do you think like these royalties come back in some shape or form, or
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
we just have like completely it's not going to come back again. And if it doesn't
Mhm.
come back, then what exactly is the ethos that we then take to the
Mhm.
creators?
I mean, royalties has always been a center of topic, center point of conversation, and in for the last few months, right? Once OpenSea said they will stick to the royalties, but now they are winding the clock back and saying we are getting rid of the royalties. It's actually a
Mm,
hit on the creators. So those who want some incentives for their arts, right? I mean, let's imagine a case where you create an art and you get incentivized for every secondary sale that's happening. So royalties, I mean, I don't see a point where royalties will just vanish. There are still some marketplaces that will hold on to royalties, even making use of this time. Rarible voiced
yep.
out saying that they will cut off all the uh, trade with OpenSea's aggregations with OpenSea's and Blurs, and they'll stand for royalties. So I'm pretty sure royalties will be up and running in some time. I see this more of a market reaction where
Mm,
people, OpenSea wants to cash in, grab some users, grab some attention by reducing the royalties, or in fact removing the royalties, where they just keep it optional for now. It's not removed.
yep.
But when the market gets better, I mean, obviously, OpenSea being the pioneer when it comes to NFT marketplace will have it in place.
Got it. No, that's actually good. That's quite reassuring as well, to
Yep.
get hear that stance, and I really hope that does make a comeback as well. One other thing, like going back to the
Mhm.
analytics part, right? So you guys are very
Mhm.
focused on NFT based analytics, but you earlier
Mhm.
mentioned also that you ultimately want to be as big as like a chain analysis, etc. How do you see the journey going from where you are today, focused on
Mhm.
NFTs, into like
Mhm.
becoming like a much larger behemoth?
Yes. So we have two sides. I mean, like the two sides of the coin. We have a centralized part where we want to focus on, let's say, the image level forensics more into a centralized entity, because we cannot decentralize these things, right? I mean, decentralizing an image forensics or a computer vision model is still a fair long way to go. Whereas we have a decentralized roadmap. So we also have a token in picture, which is coming up shortly. And
Mm,
we want to decentralize this data layer more like a graph protocol for NFTs. But then, I mean, graph is just an example for the decentralized data, but then we are much more powerful than graph because we have a single endpoint, single API endpoint where people can have on-chain data, data analytics, and data forensics. So we want players to build on top of bitsCrunch in a way, right? Because we
mm,
don't want to be the centralized entity. Because I'm pretty sure if let's say Prashant wants to know uh, any malicious activity on Ethereum or any hacks, I'm pretty sure you might have to go knock at chain analysis or elliptic, and I'm pretty sure that you might have to pay a hefty fees for that, like
yeah.
roughly 25,000 dollars a year, right? And that is a long and tiring process because you have to go talk to a team, create an API key or dashboard access or whatever, and then get access to those reports, which is not fairly simple and straightforward for a layman.
Mm,
And when we wanted to build this whole ecosystem, we wanted to decentralize the fact, and that is why you see DAppRadar using our tools, right? If you
mm,
just closely see, DAppRadar is also a potential competitor if you look at it from one perspective,
mm,
because they are also providing analytics on various dApps, and also they have an NFT section. But because of our entire roadmap, because of where we wanted to go, they understand the potential of it, because we don't want anybody to look at us as a competitor, right? So we want DAppRadar to build on top of us. We want chain analysis to come and pick up our data and build something out of it, or build something on top of it. And same with elliptic, same with Merkle signs, and so on. So we are trying to simplify the whole process where a user like Vijay comes in, connects the wallet, gets the API key, boom, that's it. You get the data. And then if you are a
right.
techie, you can plug and play. You can create tools, softwares, sorry, charts and software, charts like Dune Analytics, and you can plug it to whatever systems that you're building.
Got it. So it's like full analytics engine for NFTs, where you guys open source the data that you guys are, collecting and also
Yes.
indexing, and all these other companies can then build on top of, or
Yes.
dive into the data you provide and derive
Yes.
insights and analytics, etc., from it. And this entire decentralization of this repository
Mhm.
is what the token will kind of manage in a way.
Yes, exactly. I mean, that's the first level of decentralization. So we are
Mm-hmm.
decentralizing that data stack right now, the API layer, and then in the next levels of decentralization, we also plan to decentralize the machine learning models as well. So that
Mm.
is obviously a tougher job to do, but then
Yeah.
we also have a roadmap for that. So we plan to scale across multiple chains. So today we are scaling on 4 chains, adding Solana, it's almost 5, but then we want to scale to 50 chains or 100 chains in the next few years. And like I said before, we want to also move beyond NFT space. So we want to stamp
Mm.
our authority, set our footprints, and then leave to the bigger picture. That is why we are bitsCrunch. We crunch bits of data, right? We are
Mm.
not some of our competitors. I mean, they have NFT on their brand name itself, which also restricts them to go beyond
Yeah.
NFTs. I mean, they could do a rebranding on their brand, but we don't want to do that right from the outset. So we have a bigger picture in mind, but I mean, nobody believes when you want to compete with the likes of the Googles or the Facebooks on the day one, right? So we
Mhm.
take a smaller chunk, and then we want to be a competitor, or let's say grab a market share from chain analysis or elliptic. I mean, again, we are not competing in a way because we are decentralized. So we want to grab a market share from chain analysis and elliptic, and if I have to put it that way.
Got it. Got it. No, that makes a lot of sense. So what you're doing today is, in the grand scheme of things, still your go-to market. That's it. It's much bigger than that going forward. Yeah, I mean, to conclude this, right? How do you, what is on the roadmap next? I mean, we heard the decentralization part, but
Mhm.
are there any updates that you would like to share with the viewers as well?
Mhm.
Specifically, what they should
Yep.
be looking forward to?
Sure. So, like I said, the public token sale is coming up. That is coming up shortly, and you will get some official news soon. So we are probably going to launch it in one of the top two, top three launch pads in the space. So that is coming up, and then obviously this we have already onboarded 55 node operators onto our testnet, the likes of Chain Node, Inf nodes, Zeev, and so on. So the ones who run nodes for Chainlink, Aptos, and Sui, they are running nodes for us. And the incentivized testnet is live on CoinList. So we have added what close to 30,000 unique wallets that are actually getting onto this model to get some airdrops. So we have an airdrop campaign going on. So make use of it. And what else? Like I said, plan to expand to multiple chains, and plan to focus more on AML and compliance part, because that is something that I missed here. We are also picking up this OFAC list of wallets that are released by the US government, and we dig 10 levels deeper. So we
Hmm.
check if there is any money involved into the NFT space, right? And
Hmm.
and we have found that there is a massive amount of money involved in NFT space from this uh, sanctioned wallets. I mean,
Interesting.
when you talk about wash trading
Yeah.
isn't actually illegal. I mean, there is no
Hmm.
books or no laws that says wash trading is illegal. In fact, market making is similar, right? I mean, people
Yep.
do market making to get the tokens up and running. So wash trading is not actually titled or legally binded as a illegal activity, but then money laundering is. So
Yeah.
when US has announced an OFAC list of wallets, we dig 10 levels deeper. What are the level one transactions happening? What are the level two? And then we go 10 levels deeper, and we see the money involved in NFT space. And we were surprised to see some of the big marketplaces that were also facilitating in a way, because in a way you are collecting transaction fees, you are collecting royalties that are also distributed to the artists, right?
Hmm.
So in a way, you are knowingly or unknowingly facilitating the money laundered money
Yep.
in your platform. So that is actually something that we are working on it right now, which will actually potentially blow
I
up.
mean, you're opening a Pandora's box right there, you know.
Yeah.
But okay, I mean, hand on heart, I mean, I'm not super surprised that is where you guys are, you know, that is what you're finding out, because a lot of
Mhm.
these numbers in NFTs kind of don't make any sense, right? And this is something that has been happening in traditional art as well. So this is just a newer digital way. But no, this is super interesting, right? I mean, you're clearly the vigilantes of the NFT space, as I would like to
Yeah.
call it. It's great.
Yeah.
And you guys are coming up with like a lot of updates as well, so that is actually quite exciting. I keep
Mhm.
saying bear market is the time to build, and you guys are clearly doing that in a grand way.
Thanks a
We
lot.
will include if you, we will include some of these links in our show notes as well, so our viewers can, you know, take full advantage of it. But
Sure.
Vijay, it has been a pleasure. This is great. Any final words from you before we wrap it up?
Like you said, bear market is the time to build, and we always keep our heads down. So same for all the builders who are watching. So keep your heads down, and start focusing on the fundamentals. Start focusing on your fundamentals or your strengths. Play to your strengths, and then sky is the limit. I mean, India has just reached moon to the
Oh
south
yeah.
pole of moon through Chandrayaan. So sky is the limit.
Wonderful, wonderful. And thanks for taking the time, Vijay. This was excellent. And you know, 2024 at some point we should do a rerun of this to see where you guys are and where the market is. So you know,
Sure.
take care and
Sure.
thanks to everyone.
Sure.